Oh man, look at this fucking thing. Holy shit. What is that fucking thing? It's a
Dolly Mama, Dolly Mama, Dolly Mama, Dolly Mama, Dolly Mama, Mama, Dolly Mama. Wow.
What's going on, ladies, gentlemen, and everyone else? My name is X-Jolly Llama, and we're gonna switch back to the starting series. We're getting a little bit scuffed today. We have had very little time to prep for this, but we are doing a mental health awareness discussion with the fam today. Pardon my starting soon screen. I hope you guys understand. We are going to be switching over right now in just a moment to the proper scene here. There we go. As you can see, we are going to be joined here today by Mahler JM, Strange Spuddy, and myself. And we're going to be talking about mental health awareness, sharing our own stories, and having a discussion about general mental health. I hope everybody's doing well today. I need to fix my webcam here, so if you guys could just bear with me for just one moment while we do that, and then we will hop right in with these lovely, beautiful folks that you see on your screen here. Mahler JM here is at the top left. Exclamation point multi if you want to have all of our streams pulled up. Good morning, Wadi. Hello, friend. Stream's a little bit scuffed today, but hopefully this all works out. As you can see, we are joined by these beautiful folks. And yeah, we're gonna go ahead and undeafen. It looks like they are doing their intros here as well. They're talking to their own stream. So if you do see them talking today and you don't hear them, it is likely because they are talking to their own streams. I will go ahead and undeafen. And we're gonna hop into it here shortly. I'll wait until they go ahead and unmute. So how are you doing today, Wadi?
Hello.
Hey, Spud, how you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
Doing all right. Doing all right. We'll just go ahead and wait for Mahler to finish up his little intro bit, and then we can hop in. I think he's gonna intro it.
Hello,
Sounds
friends.
good to me. Hello, Mola. How you doing, brother?
Sorry about the delay. I was just saying hello to some of our friends out there in the world.
No worries at
No
all.
worries.
Um,
Everyone's start is different, so.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah, for sure.
so Mahler, did you want to go ahead and just kick us off with just like the World Health Organization's mental health info type of situation?
Yeah, certainly. So the World Health Organization, guys, is a national organization, obviously dedicated to a lot of different health issues. One being very important is mental health. And they have a nice overview of what their goal and their purpose is. And I'm going to go ahead and just go through that. In recent years, there have been increasing acknowledgement of the important role mental health plays in achieving global development goals, as illustrated in the inclusion of mental health in the Sustainable Development Goals. Depression is one of the leading causes of disability. Suicide is the second leading cause of death among 15 to 29-year-olds. People with severe mental health conditions die prematurely, as much as 2 decades early, due to preventable physical conditions. Despite progress in some countries, people with mental health conditions often experience severe human rights violations, discrimination, and stigma. Many mental health conditions can be effectively treated at relatively low cost, yet the gap between people needing care and those with access to care remains substantial. Effective treatment coverage remains extremely low. Increased investment is required on all fronts, for mental health awareness to increase understanding and reduce stigma, for efforts to increase access to quality mental health care and effective treatments, and for research to identify new treatments and improve existing treatments for all mental disorders. In 2019, WHO launched the WHO Special Initiative for Mental Health, Universal Health Coverage for Mental Health, to ensure access to quality and affordable care for mental health conditions in 12 priority countries to 100 million more people. That is what WHO describes mental health. That is their mission for mental health. Obviously, our mission is similar, but we are here without a cost. We're here without an organization. We're here as human beings coming to you guys to have these discussions, to tell you a little bit about ourselves and maybe some of our experiences. And hopefully you can learn from that, either take it for the good and use it in that way, or take it for what not to do, right? And improve in that direction. So that's kind of what our plan is. Sorry, Jolly, Spuddy.
Yeah,
Yep.
Sound
So-
about right?
absolutely. It definitely shines a light. I didn't realize the kind of numbers were so high in terms of how many people are affected by mental health and how many people are, suicide rate is it's terrifying. I mean, it's sad. So
It is. It is.
as someone who has struggled with depression basically my entire life, it's a pretty terrible thing. But maybe we can kick off with a little bit of intro, kind of about
Sure.
ourselves. Just, I'm sure most of our communities know who we are, but maybe give a little bit of info that they maybe don't have, or just get to know us a little bit better.
Sure.
Yeah. Spuddy, why don't you start?
I was going to say, this is where I'll probably struggle because of past and that I struggle opening up a little bit, but yeah, I just don't know what to say half the time. I do. Well, a lot of people have said to me that they believe that I am depressed, and that even though I don't want to believe it myself, the main thing I have trouble with is explaining things as well. But yeah, I think when my depression really got to me was when my actual gran died last year, because I was so close to her, and I've got goosebumps even talking about her. But yeah, she was one of my closest family members, and sorry, I'm shaking a little bit.
No, you're fine. If you wanna pass the torch off, catch your breath a little bit, that's totally fine. Yeah, don't worry about it
Buddy.
too much. Love you, buddy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm just not good at explaining, and I don't want to mess up on my first try.
No, you're fine. You're fine. Mahler, why don't you go ahead and kind of give, I guess, like a little intro, kind of
Sure.
how mental health
Sure.
has affected you and stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'll give an intro on myself first. I'm James. You guys all know, maybe some of you know that. I'm James. I grew up in Michigan, 43 years old. I grew up in a weird time, right? I grew up in the 70s, late 70s, when divorce became kind of the thing, right? And a lot of people were doing it. It was cheap, and it was an easy way, unfortunately, in America, for people to kind of get out of bad relationships or whatever the reasoning be. So I was a product of divorce at an early age, probably less than a year old or so. So something I've noticed throughout my whole life is that I've never had a real good example of what a stable relationship is. And so I've always been introverted in that way, where the only person that can protect me is me. And so it's affected relationships. It's affected certainly my mental health. It really hit home a couple of years ago, about 4 years ago. I broke up with my ex-girlfriend. Some of you have heard the story, but it wasn't a breakup of like deceit. Like, she didn't cheat on me, or we didn't have any, it wasn't toxic. But it was just because she wasn't ready for the step in which I was at. It was timing. And so there was a ton of love there, but it was a step I felt like I had to take at the time. Unfortunately, I think that was, I don't know, you always look back in a different light when you're looking back at history, right? If I'd have been more communicative, it probably would have helped. But I've never been communicative. I can't say that word. I've always been closed off, and when I have problems, I internalize them all. And so that put me in a deep depression. I moved into a brand new house. My first house I'd ever bought. Should be a glorious experience. It was a hole of depression. It was quiet walls, thoughts going through my head. I had no job at the time. it just piled on. And I stood at the edge at one Christmas with the family. I told them, I'm going to make the decision on if this is the last Christmas in which I decide to come by, you know. And I meant that very seriously. It's, you know, it's my decision. Well, something I've learned as I've healed, right, is that it's about the people you put around you. It's about the conversations that you have with people that you call friends, keeping those people close, especially during this pandemic. If it wasn't for you guys in the Twitch community, guys like Jolly Llama, guys like Strange Spuddy, to just talk to and finally open up for once in my life, I don't know where I'd be. I really don't know where I'd be. You know, I put on a really good false front, very strong and, you know, mentally very solid, but deep inside, I'm still that little kid who got left at home, split between multiple parents when I was 1 year old. And it still affects me today. It's still, I mean, I don't know how you get over those things. But it's something that we as a generation, you guys as a younger generation, are also learning to cope with. Thankfully, at 40 years old, I had little, you know, we were a little tougher back then, right? They didn't have all the adjustment, you know, the drugs and the other mental acuity that we have today. And so, you know, we were just, you had to, you know, grow, you know, be strong, right? Rub some dirt on it, they'd say in sports, you know, when you get hurt. And that's kind of how it was growing up. So it's really damaging. And yeah, I'm still dealing with it. I deal with it every day. But that's a little bit about my story. I'm certainly open to any questions if anybody has any, of course, because it's a story that some of you can relate to, even being younger, you know, going through breakups and stuff. And if I can help you by giving you a piece of advice on something I did that was completely wrong, I would rather do that, you know, eat crow a little bit for my own mistakes to help you not make the same mistake and look back on 43 years of life and wonder what you've been doing.
Yeah, well,
go ahead, Charlie.
Well, we love you, Mauler.
I love you too.
Yeah, we love you too.
Yeah, appreciate you opening up a little bit there. I mean, you've done the same for us, I think, and that, you know, you just described us doing for you. So it's greatly appreciated. I guess for my intro, in case people don't know, my name is Casey. Some people know that, some people don't. 27, grew up in the general LA area, lots of people all around constantly. Yeah, I've been struggling with depression from the first time I was diagnosed with I guess it was potential depression. Was 6 years old, also a child of divorce, and you know, father was kind of in and out of my life for most of my younger years, so I also relate to Mauler sharing that kind of uncertainty with strong, stable relationships. And then on top of that, I also suffer from degenerative disc disease, which causes constant back pain. And as a kid, I was always really into playing physical sports. And once the pain started, I had to stop playing sports, which was kind of my emotional outlet. I kind of just spiraled downwards. On the plus side, I fell into video games, which, you know, led me here, to these beautiful people and, you know, streaming and all that. So, yeah, I don't want to get into too much detail right now, because I'm sure we'll fall back into it as we go through this discussion. But yeah, I've been suffering with depression and chronic pain my whole life. Anxiety started happening around my teenage years. I put on a lot of weight after quitting sports. I gained a lot of weight, started being, you know, ridiculed at school and bullied, and that obviously didn't help at all. And it was kind of just a long-winded downward spiral, down to probably my lowest point, maybe 3-ish years ago. I went through a really bad breakup, and you know, didn't feel like I had anybody, even though logically, you know, you still know you have people you can lean on, but in the moment, especially with crippling depression, you don't feel like you have anybody. And you know, I, as Mahler said, kind of stood on that edge, and it was more close to ending things than I am proud of admitting. But sometimes you got to just open up and talk about it, and talk about how you got through it. And I guess we'll leave it there for now, and we'll probably hop back in and go back through our individual situations as we go through this discussion here. But yeah, that's a little bit about me and my kind of backstory. So
Tell you what, you two explain things better than I can.
hey, don't even sweat it, buddy. You did fine, and it's you know, it's very fresh for you too, and obviously things can get really emotional, and it can be really difficult to talk about. So
I was going to say, this is one of the most difficult things I've ever done, and I want to do it because I know that it'll probably make me better, but I just struggle with this type of thing, especially considering normally I have to deal with things on my own, and I help a lot of other people out to try and get my mind off things. Because, yeah, I've been struggling for many years, and it just seems to be getting worse and worse over the years. Because even when I was in school, there was a couple of times I actually nearly committed suicide, and if it wasn't for people stopping me, I probably wouldn't be here today and wouldn't have met you wonderful people.
Yeah.
And I've been sent to all sorts of different specialists and that to try and help me, and it was when I got into gaming and actually met Squid as well, who helped me out a hell of a lot, you know, and I can't thank him enough. And then I've met you wonderful people as well, and built a wonderful community, and just can't thank either of you two enough either, or everyone else. And I'm slowly getting there, but I've still hit obstacles, and now I'm being tested for something called Asperger's, or however you pronounce it. I never heard of it before until, well, my cousin actually works with people with it, and she's the one that diagnosed me with it and told me to go to doctors. I've then been tested, and I'm on a, but the thing which I don't like is I'm on a waiting list to see a specialist, and the waiting list is 3 years long, which is really gets on my nerves. So
that's pretty
'cause
lengthy.
yeah, just to find out if I have got it or not.
Right.
But apparently I show a lot of signs of it, and that would explain a lot of things in my life as well, because I think differently to other people. I do things differently. It's like sometimes it feels like I don't belong, if you know what I mean. And I seem to get treated differently to everyone else, and yeah, it just all seems to get to me, and I try and boil it up and get on with things, and I want to try and get it out there and try and get the help I need, but I just don't know how to go about it, because as you know, I'm crap at explaining things, and I
Yeah.
just don't know.
Yeah, you're fine. Don't yeah, you're totally fine. Yeah, much love to you. Yeah, that's something that I couldn't imagine, I guess, going through. But I, you know, in that same light, we all have our own individual experiences with life and getting to this point and everything. And the fact that you're here makes me really happy. You know, we wouldn't be able to do this as a group if you weren't here. So glad you are, and glad you're still kicking.
Because
But
I even struggle sleeping and everything. But one thing that really, really, which I need to put out there, although only certain people know, and Squid knows this because I told him face to face. But there is one of my exes who I cannot forgive for anything, because she really made things a lot worse for me, because she basically denied me the chance of being a father. She told me she'd got pregnant, showed me the thing and that, and then next thing I know, she went and got an abortion, which I don't believe in, and she didn't tell me I'd find out from someone else, and I confronted her and everything, and then she tried putting all the blame on me, made me feel bad, and I just struggled sleeping since then. And not even my family, most of my family know that. I think only one member of my family actually know that, and I've had to put up with that, and I still can't stop thinking about what if and all that. And then obviously everything's gone downhill since then as well, and yeah.
Well, appreciate you, opening up and sharing it. It definitely, it helps in the long run. It might definitely hurt to talk about, there's, sharing openly stuff that you've kept balled in is never an easy thing to do. So, power to you, and hopefully talking about it does end up helping at least a little bit. Yeah, because that's
So that's the.
Go ahead.
Sorry, I was going to say that's the first time in a long while where I've actually thought about that and not burst out into tears. Because normally when it comes into my mind, I end up crying, and there has been times where I've actually cried myself to sleep and everything, and woke up with a massive headache because obviously I ran out of tears or whatever.
Right.
But yeah.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that with us. Appreciate it a whole heck of a lot.
Spuddy, you're one of us, man, and
Yeah.
that's the first step right there. The first step towards being able to feel okay with the situation is to be able to talk about it, at least be able to, get it off of your chest. Because if you bottle it up 40 years later, you'll stand at that dark pit, or you'll do stuff like I did, which was you don't want to do something that's risky, right? You don't want to do something that's scary because the last time you did it, it blew up in your face, like a relationship, for example. But that next person who comes into your life could be the one, right, who changes it. And you may have, if you bottle it up, it could be 15 years and you come across 3 or 4 beautiful people that could have, been maybe that little missing link. I'm 43. And I was supposed to have, a 13-year-old by now, right? Something like that. And
Well,
that's my biggest regret right now.
If I did have that
gotta get it
child,
out.
it'd be about 9-10 years old
There you
now.
go. See.
Yeah, I think
And-
as people, like, I don't think we're all introverts, but as people who spend a lot of time indoors being, streamers and gamers and stuff, I think we tend to like bottle things up super heavily, and just keep things in, for a very, very, very long time. And while I don't relate to not being able to have a child, I'm young enough at this point that I never had that opportunity, and I don't think it was going to happen even with my last relationship. There's a lot of stuff that I relate in terms of just like stuff that keeps me up at night, and stuff that I just, yeah, hard to talk about things. And as I'm thinking of these things, my immediate reaction is to just smile, right? Like I'm smiling as I'm talking about this. In my head, I'm like screaming, but it's the face, it's the front that we put on to try to like make people think that we're like doing all right.
Because nobody wants to admit pain. Nobody wants to admit lack of strength, right? Everybody in this world, no matter where you are in the world, everybody is taught to be tough, right? That you can't show your emotions, or at least most families. I don't know. I grew up in that kind of society where it was, you essentially, I grew up in an Italian family, so we always hugged, but I knew families who didn't, right? There was never any of that bondingness, I guess, or that, I guess affection maybe is probably the better word. So it's just always be tough. And And if you want to be tough and you're trying to keep a corporate job, or you're trying to, make sure people on the outside don't know, then you put on that false front. And I think we all do it. And unfortunately, some of us have to, right? But the only way to be healthy is to drop those walls and to admit that you have pain and that you could use help.
Yeah, because I think all of this as well has really shot my confidence down and everything. Because my ex, obviously, because of everything, and I've had real bad trust issues as well. I really want to trust people, but they normally have to earn their trust on that. But I tell you what, this Twitch community's earned my trust quicker than people in real life.
Same.
Yeah.
And that's why I don't stream much either, because I want to stream, I just can't bring myself to do it sometimes, because I'm not confident enough to do it, even though I make people laugh and make people happy according to my chat. I like the feeling about that, and I love talking to you, all the amazing people in it, but I think to myself, right, I want to stream today, and then when it comes to it, I'm like, I kind of like question myself and then back myself out and don't end up streaming. Instead, I end up playing a game instead, just to try and keep my mind off things. And it just all gets to me, and I just start really struggling.
Yeah.
And then go on.
Gonna say, just I totally relate to that. I was on a daily streaming schedule for a couple of months, and then super big wave of depression hit, and it was every single day was a struggle to even get out of bed, let alone play video games or try to go live or try to entertain people. And it's I'm still struggling with it. It's getting better